Gang, it's your coach Tim here, and I'm talking about Wednesday, March the 27th. We're going to try something new this week, given that it's our first week of the new cycle. And it's Wednesday, and we've been doing some skills on Wednesday. So it's all outlined through videos and really just through like the way that we laid it out and be on the whiteboard. But bottom line is, it's not always just strength that we need in order to achieve some of the more difficult skills of CrossFit. Sometimes you might have all the strength in the world, but if you don't have the mobility, then we can't apply that strength. And so what we're trying to aim for with this cycle is to teach and show and lean into the mobility of it while also getting some of the strength up as well. So like today, for example, you're going to be contorted in all kinds of different ways that are working on increasing your hip and lower half mobility in order to do better squatting. But you're also going to have like our heel elevated goblet squats. That's going to not only help you to achieve a range of motion, but also add loading or external load to that, which is going to help with the strength part. And sometimes you can do both at the same time, adding that plate elevated or the heel elevation and the loading at the same time is doing both. So, what are you going to get out of it? Well, let's just see how it feels when we go to do the workout. But each week when we do stuff like this, we'll have a different gymnastic movement in mind, and then we'll practice that gymnastic movement. Now, today's gymnastic movement is air squats, or just squatting in general. How are we going to apply that in the workout? Through the use of pistols. There might be several people who have pistols or are close to pistols and find that after really opening up those hips during our mobility / strength session, feel like pistols go better. And I know I'm talking about a smaller group of people, but we expect that kind of thing to happen because that really is the amount of time and patience you need to have with your joints before doing something like pistols anyway. So you never just want to rush into a muscle up or a pistol or a toes to bar or a handstand push-up. You always want to make sure the groove has been greased, so to speak. Now today's workout, I mentioned it's pistols. We're going to achieve pistols through a benchmark workout today. We're going to try pistols through a benchmark. Now we have the many different ways to modify pistols. I'll let you walk through that with your coach. And don't hesitate just to immediately modify if you're pretty sure that's where you're at with pistols right now. But for everyone else, this is Mary. This is a benchmark. And this is going to be like JT was for us in that we like the combination of movements. And in this particular case, what we like is the 20-minute time frame because it allows us to look at this workout from 3 different perspectives. And number one, just first and foremost, 20 minutes is a long time horizon, so it feels like it gives us the time and space to try some of the skills that are laid out for us in this workout. And really, this workout has 3 separate skills, different halves, different motor functions, and it allows us to practice them. But what are the 3 ways we can look at this workout? Now, anytime it's a benchmark, sometimes for some people, appropriately so in most cases, you can throw the idea of stimulus out the window because when it's a benchmark and you want to use it as a test to see where you're at with certain movements, certain modalities, and you can certainly do that. The intended stimulus of the person who wrote Mary might not be achieved if you're like, no, I have to do this RX and I might only get 2 or 3 rounds. And we understand that. So if you can do these movements safely, even if you have to break them up and they're not hurting you and the technique is good, it's just that it's a lot of volume, that's always one of the ways to look at it. Is it our favorite way to look at it? No, it's not. The second way to look at it is really for the people who have these movements down pat and for whom this volume isn't a whole lot. For them, this is the kind of workout where we have to talk about strategy and pacing, right? So if you are someone, you have pistols, you have handstand push-ups, then you're probably looking at this like handstand push-ups. That's a pretty low volume. I love that. And then you're looking at pistols and going, well, on a per round basis, it's really just 5 per side. So that's kind of a low volume depending on where I'm at. And then with the pull-ups, you're probably going, oh, well, there's a high volume right there. Like if I want to get 5+ rounds of this, then that's way more pull-ups than I would even do in Fran. It's a lot of pull-ups. right? And so for those competitors, or even those just people who have these movements down, you have to be thinking, for how long should I use big sets for the pull-ups? And the answer is you shouldn't. These should be quick hit sets, maybe 3 sets of 5 each round, just to keep yourself fresh. So that's another way to look at it. Now everybody's going to be different with that, but I like to think of it as 3 sets of 5, and that'll keep me fresh for everything else. And then in that case, I'll be able to sustain for all 20 minutes. And then the third way to look at it is, think of a 75-year-old person that walks into a CrossFit gym. If CrossFit is infinitely scalable, then for that person who, let's assume, maybe wrongfully so, assume that they don't have handstand push-ups, assume that they don't have pistols, assume that they don't have pull-ups. As a coach, what am I thinking? I'm thinking, well, for that person, they're ripe for molding. They're ripe for getting the intended stimulus for this workout, because that person shouldn't be saying, you know what, skills be damned, I'm going to RX this, because they can't anyway. So they should be thinking of what is in the intended stimulus of this. And to get the intended stimulus, it is there's a part of it that we have to throw out the window. You're not getting the advanced motor function portion of the gymnastics movements, but what is the handstand push-up, except to say it is a delicate vertical push, right? In this case, it's usually against the ground, but we can get the same stimulus from a challenging vertical push. The pistols are, we try to isolate legs, but a single leg box step up where we isolate as best as possible is going to replicate that stimulus. And then lastly, the pull-ups. We're just getting an upper body pull-in. So a ring row would go really well for someone who is walking into a gym for the first time. So those people have it made because they're going to get the intended stimulus. They don't have some preconceived notion of how they should do in a benchmark. So we love coaching people like that. It's the rest of us that we have to really kind of like basically compromise with. So everyone's going to be different today. Just know with a benchmark, it's always kind of you versus you and deciding whether or not to RX or try. There are people who could do this workout and get like 2 rounds. It took them 20 minutes to do it, but now you know. And we'd be okay with that. We'd accommodate it as long as you'd be safe. All right, guys, enjoy. I haven't done Mary yet. I have reasons, but I'm going to do Mary same day you guys do it. Enjoy.